Sure. So thank you so much, everyone. First of all, for the opportunity to speak on this topic, and for the knowledge that I'm learning from the presence of gracious Justice Kaul and Venkatramani sir and my fellow panelists. I'm going to probably share my screen and walk through a short presentation that I have made. The presentation is only going to talk about broadly what are the basics of electronic signature vis-a-vis digital signature, and how we started this journey from the Indian legal perspective. I think the Indian enterprises are on its way to digital transformation. We have the Information Technology Act, which recognized digital signatures, electronic communications way back since 2000. And a lot of our regulators also now encourage that all the forms and the filings, reportings, whatever are required to be made are made using the electronic documents and using the electronic signatures. So with this as a base, I think I move on to go straight into the distinction between what is digital signature and what is electronic signature. So as the context is laid, there are two kinds of signatures which are both, the electronic version of it. One is a digital signature which uses a higher level of security levels and encryption, which are technically used for all the regulatory filings. So for example, if you are changing the directors of the company and you're filing a form with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, you would be expected to use a digital signature and not the regular electronic signature. The same is true when we probably apply for the tenders which prescribe a certain category of signature. So what is digital signature? It is basically the use of asymmetric crypto system and the hash functions, which helps to convert the document after it is signed into another form of document. So the document technically changes from version 1 to version 2 after it is signed, and the document cannot be edited thereafter, irrespective of however, whatever efforts you make. There's a use of public key and private key, which are very unique to the subscriber. So it's allotted to an individual who has given their credentials. What you submit as credentials are typically your passport details or your Aadhaar details and few of your verifications. And the digital certificate is issued for a fixed term. So typically the class 2 and the class 3 digital signature are valid only for a period of 2 to 3 years, and you need to renew that on a periodic basis. Whereas if we look at what is electronic signature, an electronic signature is a signature which specifies, the requirements of Schedule 2 and which, which fulfills the criteria like, the reliability. So this is a very unique signature given only to the individual who is signing it. It has a date and time stamp when you sign. It issues a completion certificate, and it's linked to the IP address of the machine from which it is signed. So there's a complete auditability and the detectability of the signature. I think I'll move on to the next slide. I think I wasn't supposed to put this document here, but since Justice Kaul as well as Venkatramani sir spoke about whether an individual can escape from the liabilities, what was agreed in the contract. So this is a version of how a typical certificate would be issued after you sign any contract. And these contracts can be on a B2B or a B2C basis, like business to business, business to direct consumers. And therefore, your ability to walk away from the contract or to escape your liabilities is highly challenged. I'm not going too much into the depth because my colleague Ashish is going to talk about how this translates in terms of evidence and what are the judicial views about the electronic signatures. I think personally, from using the electronic signatures that we have been using for many, many years now, it has given us a lot of comfort and ease of transacting. Typically, what we ensure is that there's a counterpart clause, because the manner in which a document is electronically signed is that you prepare an envelope which can also be linked to your existing contract management tool, and the contract can be issued to your customers or to your vendors or to your employees through this electronic means, and it will be signed by multiple parties at the same time or whenever it's convenient to them. So there is generally a counterpart clause, but even not having the counterpart clause does not make the contract voidable. It still retains its legality. Like I said, the document can be sent to multiple, executors at the same time. And it's very simple to even secure it back after it's executed. So there's a trail of who signed at what time. And once the fully executed document is ready, you also have the benefit of automatically sending it to people who are supposed to retain copies of it for the repository purposes. Needless to say, Justice Call, pressed upon how this is, so you don't, waste papers and take printouts where it's not required. The signatures are, of course, safe, secure, and it reduces the possibility of frauds and the cost of execution, because if you have to send it to multiple people in different countries or in different locations, you not only take too much time, but you also spend a significant amount in having the document travel back and forth. I think there are a few questions on the chat which talk about, can we use the electronic signature for power of attorney or for real estate conveyance kind of agreements? I think the Information Technology Act explicitly, negates the use of any form of digital signature in terms of negotiable instruments other than checks for power of attorney, trust, deed, will, etc. I think one of the benefits of using the electronic or a digital signature is that you can also segregate the authorizations which are given to your employees. So, for example, if only a senior management of your company is permitted to sign the tender submissions, then he can be given a digital signature, whereas for rest of the larger population, you can use the electronic signature, which is more convenient to use and can be used in much larger scale. So I think I will probably stop here and see if there are any questions, or otherwise I'll hand over to Ashish or Sapan for